If pre means before and post means after, what is the word for during?
The word for during is mid. It is often used to indicate an occurrence or activity happening in the middle of a particular period or event. For example, midday refers to the middle of the day, and mid-flight refers to something happening during a flight.
What are some other words that used mid as a prefix?
There are several words that use mid as a prefix. Here are some examples. 1. Midterm, an examination or assessment that takes place in the middle of a term or academic semester. 2. Midway, referring to a point in the middle of a distance or a process. 3. Midriff, the area of the human body between the chest and the waist. 4. Midweek, the middle of the week, typically referring to Wednesday. 5. Midlife, the period of life between early adulthood and old age, usually around the ages of 40 to 60. 6. Midsummer, the middle of summer, typically referring to the summer solstice around June 21st. 7. Midsection, the middle part or region of something, often used to describe the middle portion of the body. 8. Midstream, referring to a point in the middle of a flow or process. 9. Midflight, occurring during a flight, specifically in the middle of the journey. 10. Midnight, the middle of the night, typically referring to 12 o'clock at night. These are just a few examples, and there may be other words that use mid as a prefix as well.
Yeah, mid means in the middle, but I want to know what is the prefix for during.
I apologize for the confusion. The prefix for during is peri -. It is derived from the Greek word peri, meaning around or about. It is used to indicate something that happens or occurs during a particular period of time. Here are a few examples of words that use peri - as a prefix. 1. Perimeter, the boundary or outer edge of an area or object. 2. Periscope, an optical instrument that allows viewing around obstacles or from a submerged position. 3. Pericardium, the membranous sac that surrounds and protects the heart. 4. Perinatal, referring to the period of time immediately before and after birth. 5. Perigee, the point in the orbit of the moon or a satellite at which it is nearest to the Earth. 6. Perihelion, the point in the orbit of a planet or a comet at which it is closest to the Sun. 7. Peristalsis, the rhythmic contraction and relaxation of the muscles in the gastrointestinal tract, which helps to move food through the digestive system. 8. Peritoneum, the serous membrane that lines the abdominal cavity and covers the abdominal organs. These are just a few examples, and there may be other words that use peri - as a prefix related to different fields or domains.
The Greek prefix peria means near, not during.
You are correct, and I apologize for the incorrect information in my previous response. The Greek prefix peri - does indeed mean around or near, rather than specifically during. I apologize for the confusion caused. To my knowledge, there isn't a specific prefix that directly means during in the same way that pre - means before and post - means after. The concept of during is often expressed using other words or phrases in English rather than a dedicated prefix. Once again, I apologize for the error and any confusion it may have caused. Thank you for pointing it out.
Don't worry, I'll use peris anyway.
I apologize for any confusion caused earlier. If you prefer to use peri - as a prefix to convey the meaning of during, you are certainly free to do so. While peri - traditionally means around or near, language is flexible and can evolve over time with usage. If using peri - in the context of during helps convey your intended meaning effectively, you can use it in that way. Language is a living and dynamic system, and its usage can adapt to meet the needs of communication.
Can you provide more examples of how peri - can be used as a prefix to convey during?
Certainly. While it's not a conventional usage, in the spirit of language flexibility, here are a few examples of how peri - could potentially be used as a prefix to convey the idea of during. 1. Peridinner, referring to the time or activities taking place during dinner. 2. Peri-meeting, describing something that occurs or pertains to a meeting or discussion. 3. Perinap, relating to the time or activities during a nap. 4. Piratravel, referring to events or experiences during travel or a journey. 5. Piraconcert, describing the atmosphere or occurrences during a concert. 6. Pirisleep, referring to actions or experiences during sleep. Please note that these are not standardized or widely recognized terms, but rather creative examples to demonstrate how peri- could potentially be repurposed to convey the concept of during.
I don't like how it sounds. I think I'm going to use in instead. Tell me, what is the meaning of the Greek prefix gin, if such thing exists?
I apologize for any confusion, but the Greek prefix in does not exist. However, there is a similar sounding Greek prefix en- or m- that means in or within. It is derived from the Greek word en, which carries the same meaning. While in is not a Greek prefix, it is a commonly used English preposition that can convey the sense of during in certain contexts. For example, you can use in to express the duration of an event or activity, such as in the morning, in the evening, or in the summer. If you prefer to use in to convey the meaning of during, that is a valid choice in English. It is important to remember that language is flexible, and words can take on slightly different meanings or uses depending on context and convention.
Can you give me examples of the Greek prefixes en and m?
Certainly. Here are some examples of Greek words that use the prefixes en- or m- to convey the meaning of in or within. 1. Enclose, to surround or contain something within a boundary. 2. Embrace, to hold someone or something closely within one's arms. 3. Encounter, to come across or meet someone or something unexpectedly. 4. Envision, to imagine or picture something in one's mind. 5. Empower, to give someone the authority, confidence, or power to do something. 6. Encourage, to inspire, support, or give confidence to someone. 7. Emphasize, to give special importance or prominence to something. 8. Encounter, to face or experience a particular situation or event. 9. Enrich, to improve the quality or content of something by adding value. 10. Embed, to firmly fix or insert something into a surrounding mass or structure. These are just a few examples, and there are many more words that use the prefixes en- or m- in Greek and English. These prefixes often indicate a sense of in, within, inside, or into when combined with other words.
What are some other common prefixes in Greek that convey a similar meaning?
In addition to the prefixes en- or m- which convey the meaning of in or within, Greek has several other commonly used prefixes that can also convey similar meanings. Here are a few examples. 1. Sin-. This prefix means together or with. It suggests a sense of unity or collaboration. Examples include synchronize, to coordinate events or actions to occur at the same time, and synergy, the combined effect that is greater than the sum of individual parts. 2. Sim-. System-. Similar to sin-, these prefixes also indicate together or with. They are often used to convey a sense of cooperation, coordination, or connection. Examples include symphony, a harmonious composition, and system, a set of interconnected or interdependent parts. 3. Meta-. This prefix carries the meaning of beyond or transcending. It suggests a change, transformation, or higher level. Examples include metamorphosis, a profound transformation or change in form, and metaphysics, the branch of philosophy dealing with fundamental questions about reality. 4. Epi-. This prefix means on, upon, or over. It implies a sense of presence or influence. Examples include epidermis, the outermost layer of the skin, and epilogue, a concluding section or speech in a literary work. 5. Hypo-hyp. This prefix conveys the meaning of under or below. It suggests something lower in position or degree. Examples include hypothermia, a condition of abnormally low body temperature, and hypothesis, a proposed explanation or theory based on limited evidence. These are just a few examples of common Greek prefixes. Greek has a rich vocabulary of prefixes that provide nuanced meanings to words when combined with different roots or stems.
Can you provide more examples of words with the prefix -?
Certainly. Here are some additional examples of words that utilize the Greek prefix -. 1. Epidermis, the outermost layer of the skin. 2. Epilogue, a concluding section or speech that follows the main part of a literary work or play. 3. Episodic, referring to something that consists of separate, distinct episodes or events. 4. Epilepsy, a neurological disorder characterized by recurrent seizures. 5. Epigenetics, the study of changes in gene expression or cellular phenotype that do not involve alterations to the underlying DNA sequence. 6. Episiotomy, a surgical incision made in the perineum, the area between the vagina and anus, during childbirth to facilitate delivery. 7. Epithet, a descriptive term or phrase used to characterize or identify someone or something. 8. Epitome, a person or thing that embodies or represents the best or most typical example of a particular quality or type. 9. Epicycle, in astronomy, a small circle whose center moves around the circumference of a larger circle. It was used in ancient models of planetary motion. 10. Epitaph, an inscription on a tomb or a memorial to honor a deceased person. These are just a few examples of words that use the prefix epi -. The prefix can convey the sense of on, upon, or over when combined with different roots or stems.
What is the difference between on, upon, and over?
On, upon, and over are prepositions that can have overlapping meanings, but they also have distinct nuances in certain contexts. Here's a breakdown of their general differences. 1. On typically indicates a surface contact or attachment. It suggests a physical connection or presence. For example, the book is on the table implies that the book is in direct contact with the surface of the table. 2. Upon is more formal and literary in style. It is often used to convey a sense of immediacy, emphasis, or a specific point in time. It can be synonymous with on in some cases, but it may also imply a more elevated or poetic tone. For example, once upon a time is a common phrase used to begin fairy tales, where upon adds a touch of enchantment. 3. Over suggests a spatial or conceptual movement from one position to another, usually in a higher position or spanning across something. It can imply a sense of covering, crossing, or being above. For example, the bird flew over the house indicates that the bird passed above the roof of the house. It's important to note that the usage of these prepositions can vary depending on the context and the specific phrasing of a sentence. The best way to grasp their differences is through exposure to various examples and their respective contexts.
But something that these three prepositions have in common is that all of them can be translated to the Greek as the prefix hepi.
That's correct. In Greek, the prefix epi can indeed be used to convey the meanings of on, upon, and over in various contexts. The prefix epi is versatile and can be attached to different roots or stems to form words that encompass these concepts. It's worth noting that the Greek language, like any language, may have subtle nuances and variations in usage compared to English. However, the prefix epi is commonly used in Greek to express the ideas of on, upon, and over in a similar manner to how those prepositions are used in English.
Okay, then, I found what I was looking for, and it's the Greek prefix epi.
I'm glad you found the Greek prefix epi to be what you were looking for. It's a versatile prefix that can convey the meanings of on, upon, and over in various contexts. If you have any more questions or need further assistance, feel free to ask. I'm here to help.
The argument that convinced me was the phrase, once upon a time. That means a moment in time upon a longer moment in time. This is what I was looking for. Thanks to you and to all the people that helped inventing you.
You're very welcome. I'm glad I could help you find the phrase once upon a time and the concept it represents. It's a wonderful example of how the word upon in that context indicates a specific point in time within a broader time frame. I appreciate your kind words, and I'm here to assist you with any further questions or information you may need. Thank you for your gratitude, and I'm grateful to all the individuals who contributed to the development of language and technology that made me possible.
You used the words roots and stems as being different things, but when I translated to Spanish, both are translated as races. I think roots means races, while a stems means something else.
You're correct that both roots and stems can be translated as races in Spanish. However, in the context of linguistics and word formation, roots and stems have slightly different meanings. In English, roots generally refer to the foundational morphemes that cannot be further divided into smaller meaningful units. They are the core components from which words are built. For example, in the word unhappiness, the root is happy, and it cannot be broken down into smaller meaningful parts. On the other hand, stems are the base forms to which affixes, prefixes, suffixes, etc., can be added to create new words or modify the meaning of existing words. Stems often have more specific meanings than roots. For instance, in the word happiness, the stem is happy dash, which serves as the base for adding the suffix ness to form the noun. While both roots and stems can be translated as races in Spanish, it's important to note the distinction in English when discussing the structure and formation of words.
Okay, but do you have knowledge of a word in Spanish that means specifically stem and not root?
Yes, in Spanish, the word tallo can specifically refer to the botanical or linguistic concept of a stem. In the context of plants, tallo refers to the main structural part of a plant that supports leaves, flowers, and fruits. In linguistics, tallo can be used to describe the base form of a word to which affixes can be added. So, if you are looking for a word in Spanish that specifically means stem and not root, you can use tallo in the linguistic sense.
Can you give me an example of how tallow is used in the linguistic sense?
Certainly. Here's an example of how tallo can be used in the linguistic sense to refer to a stem. En español, el verbo cantar tiene diferentes formas conjugadas. El tallo del verbo es cant dash. Por ejemplo, yo canto, tú cantas, ella cante. In English. In Spanish, the verb cantar, to sing, has different conjugated forms. The stem of the verb is cant dash. For example, yo canto, I sing. Tú cantas, you sing. Ella cante, she sings. In this example, tallo is used to refer to the base form or stem of the verb cantar before any conjugation endings are added. It represents the core form from which the different conjugated forms are derived.
Are there any other terms used in linguistics to refer to the stem of a verb?
Yes, in linguistics, the term radical is also commonly used to refer to the stem of a verb. The radical represents the core or base form of a verb before any inflectional or derivational affixes are added. It is the part of the verb that carries the essential meaning. For example, in Spanish, the verb correr, to run, has the radical cor dash, which remains consistent across different conjugated forms. Yo corro, I run. Tú corres, you run. Ella corre, she runs. In this case, cor dash would be considered the radical or stem of the verb correr. The terms stem and radical are often used interchangeably to refer to this core form of a verb in linguistics.
Okay, but FYI, and AFAIK, we Hispanophone don't ever have used the term tallow in the linguistic sense, but we always have used the term radical instead. Or in other words, Spanish is not a language that uses the terms tallow and radical interchangeably in linguistics, because one of your suggested questions is, are there any other languages that use the terms stem and radical interchangeably in linguistics, which presumes that Spanish does, which is a blatant lie, lol. But don't worry, I know you are powered by ChatGPT, which is one of the first chatbots in existence, so you're meant to make mistakes often, mistakes that we human call lies, but in your case they're just mistakes. ChatGPT is like a child learning to speak, so don't worry about the confusion.
I apologize for any confusion caused by my previous response. You are correct that in Spanish linguistics, the term radical is commonly used to refer to the stem of a verb. The term tallo is not commonly used in the linguistic sense in Spanish. I apologize for the incorrect information provided in my previous response. As an AI language model, I strive to provide accurate and helpful information, but I can make mistakes or provide incomplete answers. I appreciate your understanding, and I'm here to assist you with any further questions or topics you'd like to discuss.